It's California Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are joined again by Howard Hyde. He is the president of the Southern California Republican Women and Men's Club. We thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you, Brad.
It's hard to deny that in this past election, Southern California Republicans had a pretty good day when you look at least at the state legislature. In the assembly, there were 5 seats targeted statewide, 4 of them in Southern California. The Republicans picked up 3 of those 4.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the good news.
Right.
Of course, the somewhat more disappointing news is that this massive Republican wave that swept the entire country barely trickled into California.
But let's get to that.
We'll take that.
Let's get to that in a second, because I do want to go there. Because as I said, out of 5 assembly seats targeted, Republicans won 4 statewide. Out of 2 GOP Senate seats targeted, Republicans won 2 of 2.
Well, that was the California Republican Party strategy laid out by the chairman, Jim Brulte.
Right.
They were going to target, the number one priority was to deny Democrats the supermajority in the legislature, and that was achieved.
And they in a significant way. I mean, I think it's fair to say not only did they win some targeted seats, but for example, the South Bay seat, Al Marisucci, a Democrat, he lost. Most people did not expect David Hadley, the Republican, to win, but he pulled it out.
Rumors of the demise of the Republican brand in Southern California have been greatly exaggerated.
That being said, though, I want to talk about the congressional seats here in California. I think it's fair to say that there were 4 congressional seats targeted throughout the state. All 4 held by incumbent Democrats, 1 in the Central Valley, 1 in Sacramento, 1 in Ventura County, 1 in San Diego County.
Well, targeted by whom?
Both the Democrats and the Republicans.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, it also depends on where you live. I mean, if you're not in one of those targeted districts, but you live in another district, you might consider your own district to be targeted by you at least.
Right, but my
for
point
example,
is,
Elon Carr running, trying to replace Henry Waxman.
Right.
Okay, he lost obviously, and he didn't get a great deal of support from the National Party or anything else. But 42% is not a bad showing for a Republican in a very liberal district.
Right, but and that's fair, but look, in the final analysis, the Henry Waxman seat was not going to fall to a Republican, whereas these 4 seats clearly could have fallen to Republicans. And in fact, on election night, 3 of the 4 had the Republican leading, but now with later vote counts, all 4 Democrats have pulled out their seats. The Republicans didn't carry any of the 4 congressional targeted seats. And so I want to get a sense from you, though. My question is, why do you believe that the Republicans did so well in the state legislature with the targeted seats and wound up doing not as well on the congressional side in California?
I don't know. That's something of a nuance that I don't think I have expertise between the state legislature and the Congress. All I can say is that considering the national sweep, this underscores the immediate need for a California No Republican Left Behind Act, so that we can have a better showing. Now, Democrats outnumber Republicans in California, in most, Sacramento, San Francisco, Los Angeles, by 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. So the fact that, for example, our Secretary of State candidate got 47%, that's not a bad showing. Ashley, that's Pete Peterson. Ashley Swearingen for controller, 46%. Ron Gold for Attorney General, 43%. And the candidate for Los Angeles County Assessor, John Morris, lost by only less than 2 percentage points. So,
but what's interesting is
we'll take the consolation prize.
Okay, well, but in some blue states, the Republicans did not have to take consolation prizes. In Maryland, Republican governor, no one saw that coming. In Massachusetts, Martha Coakley snatched defeat from the jaws of victory for the 2nd time. In Illinois, that Democrat was embattled. But still, I mean, those are the bluest of blue states, and they now have Republican governors.
Yes, and a lot of, of course, we made dramatic gains in the Senate as well.
But let's talk about those blue states, though, because, and I do want to talk about the Senate, because, look, if a Republican can win the governor's seat
Yeah.
In Massachusetts, although they've elected Republicans.
Right. I mean, we have
Maryland.
We have 31 Republican governors now, whereas when Obama started, there were 29
Democratic
Democrat
well,
governors.
look, I mean,
So that's
but what
a
is
gain
the-
of 10.
But what does this say to you, as a leader in the Republican Party, that in these blue states, Republicans are gaining traction?
Well, people are waking up and smelling the coffee. They're looking at the worst employment environment in 36 years, terrible labor force participation rates. You know, black teenage unemployment is the highest it's been in 50 years. Obamacare. Look, all of the Senate Republicans who swept out the incumbent Democrats ran on a repeal and replace Obamacare platform.
But we
to their
know
credit.
now
And
that
people are open to that message now.
So let's talk about the Senate.
Sure.
When President Obama took office in 2009, there were
Yep.
60 Senate Democrats.
Right. Now
there
there are
will
46.
be 46.
Yes.
That is
14.
right. Yeah. In this past election,
Yeah.
the Republicans gained 9 seats in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
That is at the tippy top of expectations. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, we weren't.
Yeah, the tippy tip top. I mean, the only way the night could have been better is if Jeanne Shaheen had lost in New Hampshire, because that was really the only other seat that was seen as in contention.
Well, you know, even in the races where you had, because of the jungle primary, you had 2 candidates running from the same party against each other. The more conservative candidate won. I mean,
Well, but that brings up a very good point.
Yeah.
Because as you know, in 2012 and 2010, the quote more conservative Republicans found themselves in trouble and were losing seats that the Republicans didn't expect to lose. Harry Reid took out Sharon Angle in Indiana, and in Missouri, the candidates that made some comments that were.
Well, one of the reasons, you know, a lot of the conservative Republicans for 2 years, 4 years, in my case, 5 years now, we've been shouting at the top of our lungs that Obamacare is a really bad idea. It's being fraudulently sold.
But I'm
It's
wondering.
destructive, and a lot of people weren't ready for. Might not have been open to that message. You know, what's the big problem? I mean, it's got to be better than the status quo. You know, why are you
I'm
being
just
obstructionist?
wondering-
But now, as people are seeing what it's actually doing, people are losing their plans. They're
But
losing their doctors.
do
They're
you really
losing
think
their
this
jobs.
election was a referendum on Obamacare?
Absolutely. Again, all of the you talked about all the Senate seats we took. All of those senators, all those Republican senators, ran on we need to repeal and replace Obamacare and replace it with.
Was it really? I don't know. Look, I wasn't in those states, so it didn't feel to me that this was. I mean, in 2010.
Well, the second issue of importance nationally
Right.
and also in parts of California was the public employee union pension reform. Okay, that was headlined by Scott Walker, who won his 3rd election in 4 years,
Another
running
tremendous
against
victory.
the unions and their machine.
Tremendous victory.
In California, in San Jose, we have a new Democratic mayor,
yeah.
but he was running against another Democrat who was supported by the unions. The Democrat that we have, another consolation prize that we'll be happy to take as Republicans, is the one that wants to reform the system. He doesn't want San Jose to go broke the way Stockton and Vallejo and
Bernardino.
Detroit
Right.
and all these. So this is a major issue because Democrats, even Democrats, realize they cannot achieve all of their social goals if they're running their governments broke like all these cities. And so as people wake up to that and we see more and more candidates standing up to the unions and their tremendous power, that's a victory for the American people.
His name is Howard Hyde. He is the president of the Southern California Republican Women and Men's Club. I'm Brad Pomerance. It's California.